What a great, great day for Terrebonne Parish. This is 5 years in the making. But first, I'd like to give an announcement of a lot of people out here. Chief Travis Terrio, Captain Troy Bouquet for Sheriff Tim Saunier, Leah Long with Senator John Kennedy's office, Corey Henry, the fire chief for Homer, Steve Pondville, public safety, Mike Toops, the manager of Terrebonne Parish, Cohen Guidry, Tita, Dean Schwess over Sportsplex in the Civic Center, Dana Artigo with Human Resources, Clay Narcan over grass cutting and solid waste in Terrebonne Parish, Joyce Seahan, director of our pump stations, Darren Guidry, councilman, past council chairman, William Stelly. Where's William at? I understand you're going to be ahead of it, huh? He's built some pump stations before. Welcome, William. Sterling Boudreau with Lowland, and of course William is with Lowland. O'Neill Marlbrew with GIS. That's basically me and him work together with his company on coming up with this, and of course with the engineering models, which we're going to explain as we go. Kevin Kaiser, Trey Middleton, Joe Chauvin with GIS, Tony Alford, president of the levy board, Reggie Dupre, director of the levy board, Michelle Neal, Jeannie Bray, Chris Pulaski, and also we're very pleased to have Marcus Como with Shell Gulf of Mexico operations manager, Patrick Rome, Shell Gulf of Mexico Integrity Project, and Joni Tuck, Shell Corporate Relations Advisor. Now, Shell Oil was the one that donated 4,139 acres for this project, so please let's give them a round of applause. They donated millions of acres of land. They worked with us and they donated. And as you know, this is a drainage/green project. This, the project consists of 4,139 acres of Shell donation for retention. The pump station is 4 48-inch pumps, which is 400 CFS, 250 horsepower electrical submersible motors. In other words, we're going electric on all our pump stations, less maintenance, and of course we got backup generators, a 1,250 kW backup generator. That's about the same size as the one that's sitting behind you right now with Rouse's. And also we want to thank Rouse's, the Donald Rouse family, and Donnie Rouse for letting us use their side of the canal. Total project we're looking behind us is $15 million, all borne by the Terrebonne Parish taxpayers. The mitigation, $2.6 million we had to mitigate out of this. The pump station itself cost, which is the first phase, $7 million, and then we're going to have $5.4 million in levies. The engineer was GIS. The contractor is going to be Lowland. Notice to proceed was May 17th, 2023. It's 1 year, 365 days. Substantial completion May of 2024 before the next hurricane season. I also want to give a shout out to Morris P. Hebert, who was the surveyor. This was a quite large project on the surveyor, so Morris P. Hebert Services. And legal, I want to thank Vince DeGate and Michelle Neal. I think Michelle's here. We had so many land rights to give. Remember, from here to Highway 90 is 5 miles. So they had 5 miles on this side because this levee was built and a lot of the land wasn't acquired correctly. And then you got 5 miles on the 311 side and about 1.5 miles on Savannah Road. So Michelle and Vince called me this morning. He's fishing with his grandkids, so I don't blame him for not being here. But I mean, We started with this project. The project is going to hold 1.7 billion gallons of water. In other words, we get water from Lafourche Parish and North Terrebonne, and it all feeds into Bonanza Pump Station, Bayou Terrebonne to the Intercoastal, where it can't take that water. Over the years, concrete's laid, Lafourche has grown, and all this water coming into here cannot go into Bayou Terrebonne, which we are in the process of dredging it. We're doing the engineering right now. And then on the other side is Whiskey Bayou, about 1.5 miles from here. All that goes in to Whiskey Bayou, then to Little Bar Black, and it's pumped by the pump station by Sugarwood into the Intercoastal eventually. But when the Intercoastal's high, these systems don't drain. And that's the problem. The Intercoastal, say, is about 1.8 foot over what it did 40 years ago. So it'll give you a little insight so you can understand on the west side of the Intercoastal, some call it the north side of the Intercoastal, you have 3 drainage systems. The 11B drainage system, which is to our east, which is Broadmoor, Lisa Park, Maple Avenue, all the way to Nicholls State University. All that drains to a pump station by the Senac, off of 182 by Senac Towing, and the other one on Coteau. One of the first things we did in 2019, I believe it was, we went to the Corps and said, look, we need to lower the system because of subsidence and water rising. First time in the history of the Corps of Engineers, Morris P. Hebert handled the surveying work and all on it, and we were able to lower the system 9 inches. That's never been done before. And so if 9 inches don't sound like much, but when you're talking about 19 miles of St. Louis Canal, CCC ditch, CCC and what they call a 6-foot ditch behind Maple. So, okay, so we're going to start with the 11B. We've lowered that. We added pumps at Lisa Park and off St. Louis Canal, and they had a huge flooding problem. We corrected that by doing what we did here, working with Archie Chasson. He's cleaned out the canal from Nicholls State all the way to the other side of the Shreveport overpass. He's worked well with us, and I want to thank Archie for that. So now we get to the 11A system. This is what we have right here. This is good. Like I said, this is going to stop. Bayou Cane goes underwater over here. Bayou Terrebonne overflows at a +9 because it can't take the water. So the retention will stop it from. We'll grab the water, put it in retention, and when the weather's down, the canals are down, it would automatically be opened by these automatic gates, and they're going to allow the water to be released. and remember, we just put a pump station on 311 by Sugarwood, so you're going to be pumped that way, and then Bonanza will pick it up after the storm event. So we're taking care of the 11A, which is from Bayou Terrebonne to 311. So now I'll go to 311 to Bayou Black, to 182. That's the Chacahula Basin. We finished Hanson Canal, 1,000 CFS. Elliott Jones, which we'll be having a ribbon cutting on that in about 2 or 3 weeks. GIS Engineering did the engineering on both of those and did a wonderful job. And then way over here we have Bayou Black, which is permitted, which is off Geraldine Road, and we have a $12 million grant from the federal government. So that'll be moving along. That'll be 3,000 CFS that will take care of the Chacahula Basin. When I got elected, when it rained, we got 400 calls a day or more. And now that heavy rain the other day, we get 0 or very little. So we've accomplished what we came to do, and we're wrapping it up now. Of course, all of this works in conjunction with the Bonanza levee that doesn't allow us the storm surge to get to us here. So, everything's coming together. I want to thank everyone for coming out. The reason I've got all this up is to explain the 3 systems here. Now, in Bayou Grand Caillou, we're going on the design of a 6,000 CFS. You say, okay, all this water goes into the intercoastal to down to HNC. If the gates are closed, you got a huge retention. And then as a backup, this 6,000 CFS, which is 12-foot diameter pipes, will pump it out. And we also have one on Bayou Terrebonne, which is being designed by the levee board. And GIS is designing that one, which will be, so we're pumping water. These pump stations here pump out of the system now. So now we're draining Homer constantly. So with that, I want to thank everyone for coming. And I'd like to get Tony Alford up here to say a few words. Tony, President of the Levee Board.
Gordy didn't tell me you were going to do this. No, congratulations to everybody. People don't understand. I was in the back talking to somebody and telling them, well, Gordy knows more about this. And, between Gordy and O'Neill, the designing of this, a lot of that took place right here and right there, right? And it's just nice to see all the water that we're not going to have to worry about anymore. It's kind of bittersweet because when you don't flood for 15 years, flood protection is not important anymore, right? And so this process needed to take place, and it's why we concentrated on this with the levee board as well as the parish. And, we hope people stay unconcerned about flood protection because that means we're not flooding. So I can't thank Gordy enough for all the work he's done to keep the water out, and we'll try to take it from keep it from coming in with the levee board. So thank you, Gordy.
Thank you, Tony. Another thing I want to add is, we don't just come along here and say, okay, let's do a 4,000-acre retention and build a pump station here. It's done by models, and the model suggestion was done by O'Neill Marlborough with GIS, and that's when he came to me and said, look, we need about 4,000 acres, and together, me and him and the government got together, and we started working with Shell, and like I said, they graciously donated. So I'd like, O'Neill is really the brainchild of this. I'd like him to come up and say a few words on it.
Thank you, Gordy. And I wish it was my brainchild, but I wanted to introduce some of my staff: Kyle Galloway, Augustin, Mike Cortez, Trey, and Joe, and the whole gang. This is a team effort that started 5 years ago, when the problem was we sized the amount of rainfall that was coming into the system from the north, and from Martin Luther King, and from the development along in that growth. And they couldn't pass between the two bayous. We had two bayous, Bayou Terrebonne and Little Bayou Black, and all of that water had to get out. And so we said, well, can we just hold it for a little while? So this retention pond is going to take that rainwater. When the big rains come and we get 6, 7, 8, 9 inches of rain, if it's 1 or 2 inches, it's not a problem. When it gets to 4 and 5 and 6 and 8 and 9, then we have serious problems. We can hold the water here, let the water go down, let the intercoast, because usually when we have those rains, we have a south wind. Because the fronts that bring those rains generally come from the south side. So the water's not going to be high. We can hold the water and then release it as the Bonanza Pump Station can handle it. So, and I want to say, without Shell donating the property, this couldn't have happened. And we looked around, and this was a perfect piece of property. It was owned by, in my opinion, the perfect company who was interested in donating to us. They did. So we really got to thank them for that, because without that, I'm really not sure how we'd have got all that water out there. We'd be digging channels and conveyance channels, and it would have cost us a significant lot more money than the $15 million the parish is putting up. So I want to thank them and deal, and we were glad to be part of the process. This is something, and like Gordy said, all the things that we talked about, this area is we finally getting our drainage from the north. Reggie and Tony and the group has been working on the southern part of the parish for 30 years. And it's coming around. Now we got levees there. We got systems done, and this is going to take care of getting the water out of the system. And those two combinations is what we what we envisioned way back when we started on Morganza to the Gulf, and it's materializing. And God, I just want to say, up in Baton Rouge, they call him the pump station man, because he's always looking for money to build pump stations. So thank you for that. And if anybody has any questions, I'll be here to answer any questions.
Now, of course, we tout our pump stations. We tout, so this is north of the intercoastal, south of the intercoastal. We've built 3 pump stations in Chauvin. We're building one in south of Montague. 2 lock systems are completed because of Terrebonne Parish. And of course, the levee board is building this big lock system in the HNC for $360 million, and they should be going to bid in about 2 or 3 weeks with Reggie, Tony, and Mitch Beaumont and that group. And last but not least, I'd like to say a few words would be Reggie Dupre, who, it's so important that the parish and the levee board work hand in hand on all this stuff, and we have. And I mean, everything we do, we work together. If we have money, we share it with them. They don't give us much money back, but anyway, they spend it all, but that's a good thing. But no, we work hand in hand, and Reggie, I'd like to say a few words with Reggie.
Thank you, Gordy. 20 years ago, when Gordy first got elected to the House of Representatives, I believe about 5 votes, he was very shy on the microphone. So I guess he's come around a lot. But this has been a great working relationship between the levee board and the parish government. We now doing things we thought we would never live to see. This massive lock system, this connection. Tony just got word from the colonel that may be a possibility of us finally finishing the last 4 miles of Morganza between Houma and Dularge. We working to close the gaps between Cutoff and Pointe-aux-Chenes. So we're going to have a complete 90-mile system that we just piecemeal together over the last 20 years. So I want to thank y'all. Thank you, Gordy, for working with us. Thank you, Tony, for convincing me and pulling me out the Senate, because I think you made my last public service really, really successful, and thank you so much. Thank you.
Last, but I want to, while we building, this is our 31st pump station in 7.5 years, which is unheard of. 31 pump stations, from 66 inches to 48 inches to 42 inches to 36 inches to 30 inches to 24 inches, and they got some 12-inch pump stations. But 31, and I want a round of applause for my department heads and the people, the employees of Terrebonne Parish, because they make it happen. Well, what a great job our department heads. And, while all this is going on, we had Barry in 19, brought in 9.5 foot of water. Hurricane Barry. We had 5 storms and hurricanes in 20. In 21, we had Ida with 180 mile an hour winds. And meanwhile, we had COVID going on. But besides all these pump stations, 2 lock systems, we replaced 10 concrete bridges, replaced and repaired 10 concrete bridges, miles of road, thousands of concrete panels, overlaid asphalt, curbing. We built the Sportsplex. If you get a chance, go see how beautiful it is. And we're buying 25 more acres to extend out there and put an arena on there with 4-H and with the LSU extension. We're working with them now. And we built that. We just finished landings in Chauvin, Berg. We got one in Montague we're working with Steve Trosclair on. And so, when people look at, well, we do a lot of levees and we do a lot of floodgates and we do a lot of pump stations. We do everything else. We don't count it as much. We got grass cutting crews on there. We keep up with the grass. We extending Val High from Savannah Road all the way to 90. That's going under engineering. So the Hollywood Road Bridge, we'll be groundbreaking that in about probably 3 or 4 weeks. That's almost a $4 million bridge across Southbound Mandalay to 182. So we do a lot of other things that build pump stations. But this, when I took office, Terrebonne Parish would go underwater, and it doesn't anymore. Thanks to the people here, and I saw Mr. Carly Harding just got here. Thank you for coming, Carly. A great councilman from this area. And but so let's come over here. We're gonna go ahead and break ground and thank y'all. God bless everyone. God bless the people of Terrebonne Parish and the United States of America and our veterans. Thank y'all very much. With that, we'll turn dirt on number 31 pump station in Terrebonne Parish for the people of Terrebonne Parish. Let's go.